Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Monkey in the Morning. I am your host, Ranting Monkey, and I hope you're having a great Friday. I actually know the day today because I can't do this real long. I got to go like no more than 2 hours so I can get my ass to bed because I screwed up tonight, guys. Oops. I should have been in bed probably an hour ago at least. Now, in my defense, I didn't wake up till 6, so I'm not all that tired. But I need to be up at 11:30ish tomorrow so I can drive my ass up to the Secretary of State and get my new driver's license that I won't use very often. Actually, the only reason I'm going through this, I wouldn't even care about it right now because the fine for not getting it renewed immediately doesn't change all that much. And as long as you've had one within the last 4 years, it's not like you have to take the tests over anything. But in Michigan, you have to have it to vote. So I'd really like to vote. And I thought of that the other day. It's like, oh, shit, I need to go get that's why I've been going through this. And so I got to be up early. I got to be there at noon. It was the latest. It was the latest appointment they had. Like, y'all get out of work at noon? Man, it must be nice to work for the state. Anyway, I shouldn't even need a new license. I just got one a few years ago when you have to update it every so often. I shouldn't even need one. It's just my Secretary of State's a moron along with my fucking governor and everybody who runs this place. I got to be careful saying that, huh? If somebody thinks to do something bad to her, that'll be on my shoulders now because I called her a fucking moron. Paul, thank you so much. I am doing that come Monday myself. Well, good luck with it. Man, I go to fill out the thing to get my appointment, and they're like, if you're getting a first-time driver's license, you have to bring all this. And they're boxes you can't just ignore. I'm like, I don't want to bring any of that shit. And it took me forever to realize at the bottom of the list, not at the top, at the very bottom of the list, they have a marking for not applicable. I already have a driver's license. Oh, you sons of bitches. This should be at the top. But it's Michigan, so it's ass backwards. Anyway, hope you guys are good. We had the, not really a debate. It was supposed to be a debate tonight. Hosted by Steve, I was hacked Scully. That's his name, right, Steve? Mr. Scully from over there on PBS, who in just such a random moment. Okay, so Trump is talking shit about this guy. He's claiming that he's going to be a biased moderator, and who knows, he might have been. But it's the complaints about this guy. Is it PBS that he works for? I can't remember. Or is it C-SPAN? One of the two. Anyway. Oh, thank you. Yeah, ham and beans. Was it PBS or C-SPAN? Right after I said PBS, I'm like, I don't think that's right. I think it's C-SPAN. Anyway, it doesn't matter because I've never heard this guy accused of being real partisan in any way. I watch a lot of news, you guys. I hear a lot of people accused of being partisan, and for the most part, it's true. Uncle Ira says C-SPAN too. So that makes it even more likely that the guy probably doesn't give his opinions when they're talking news. They're talking in between congressional hearings, for fuck's sake. But a long, long time ago, he worked for Joe Biden for half a minute as like an intern. That's the majority of what the complaint was against him. And Trump's talking shit about the guy on Twitter. And instead of just sucking it up and ignoring Trump, he reached out to all people, Anthony Scaramucci, the Mooch, and publicly asked him if he should ignore or what he should do about Trump. And Scaramucci told him to ignore him. And this became a huge thing because, well, why would this guy be reaching out to Scaramucci in the first place? And there's a lot of people who said, oh, it sounded like it was a DM, which it didn't to me, but I don't know. What do I know? I don't DM people very often. And certainly not people I don't know. But it turns into this scandal. And And instead of just immediately going, shut up, I was just asking somebody who's been through this, he claimed he got hacked. And his network claimed he got hacked. And the Commission for Presidential Debates claimed he got hacked. And then it came out, no. Which was, well, predictable, considering this idiot had claimed he'd been hacked twice before when his tweets caused a little bit of an uproar back in 2012 and 2013. Maybe the gods just didn't want this debate to happen. This debate particularly, because everything that could keep it from happening happened. It starts off with Donald Trump coming down with the COVID cough. And it's like, oh no, there's not going to be enough time for him to get over it and get up there to the debate. And then he gets over it rather rapidly. And he's recovered. And there's this argument about whether or not they're going to have an in real life debate, as was agreed to, or if it would be virtual. And then this shit pops up with Scully. And then they're saying, yes, it's absolutely going to be a virtual debate, to which Donald Trump says, I'm not fucking doing that. And they'd be like, oh, Donald Trump backs out of the debates. No. Donald Trump was still willing to do the debate that he had already agreed to. If you don't understand why it's not a good idea for Joe Biden to be allowed to do a debate from home, just watch any of the stuff he's done from home, where he's asked people things that are on the teleprompter to move the teleprompter up. We know he can't even answer regular questions without cheating. And if you're just going to have somebody else answer the questions for him, get them up on the stage instead of him, because obviously he doesn't belong there. But maybe this one just wasn't supposed to be. So instead, once it was decided that Donald Trump is backed out of the debates, Joe Biden makes plans with ABC to do a town hall instead. In person, by the by. An in-person town hall. Because when you're worried about getting COVID, what you really should do is not debate a person who's already over it from 6 to 12 to even 18 feet away on a stage. No. You should put yourself in a room full of strangers and keep from getting it that way. Yeah, a good, smart move there, Democrats. And I'm going to ask you guys a question I asked earlier tonight, but because I'm very, very curious if I'm just a cold-hearted shithead. If Joe Biden ends up getting COVID from his town hall tonight, when he wouldn't do a debate with Donald Trump because he's worried about getting COVID, wouldn't that be funny? Isn't that fun? I mean, I understand it's ironic. A lot of people, that's ironic. I understand that. Irony is funny a lot of the times. And if you don't think so, then you're just a humorless shithead. I just think it would be fun. I don't want him to die. Hashtag not dead Joe. But I think if he skipped an in-person debate with Trump over his health and he ended up getting sick from going to this stupid thing, that would be fucking hilarious. Buster's Outlaw, thank you. Learned today we have to get the new licenses or the new license to fly. I have to make an appointment like you. And like you, I'll be on the phone for 30 minutes to see them. I hate America. I love America. I hate Michigan right now. Is that what the new license is for? So I can fly? I don't fly. I hate these people. Anyway, so didn't Kamala get diagnosed with COVID? No. At least not that I've seen so far. 2 people who work with the campaign got it. And they say that those people have not been near Kamala. Yes, it's to fly. That's fucking stupid. Everyone has to get one. No, fuck that. They give you a dot on it. Why? What is that for? Yep, I can't fly with my license. Well, okay, and that's fine, but what if I'm not gonna fly? Can't I just keep my old one? Fucking bastards. Actually, I need to see something. Because maybe I can cheat. When does my license say it expires? Oh, yeah. Can't cheat on this one, I guess. Wasn't there any plexiglass between George and Joe? George? Oh, Stephanopoulos. There wasn't any plexiglass before him. Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, they were no plexiglass at all. No plexiglass between him and the audience either. And the audience wasn't in vehicles this time. I like how they've started doing that. Like going to see Joe is a drive-in thing. It's fucking stupid. But anyway, so ABC announces they're going to have Joe Biden do this. And then Twitter lost its shit because NBC went, well, if they're going to have Joe on one, why don't we have Trump on ours? And boycott NBC immediately trended on Twitter. The whole day, this was what, 2 days ago, I think? The whole day, just people shit talking NBC for how dare you do this? You know, people are going to have to pick one or the other. And you know, there's no enthusiasm for Joe. They just hate Trump. So they're going to go watch Trump. And people were either watching Trump or hate watching Trump tonight. I can't imagine too many people tuned in to watch Joe Biden. In fact, Katie Couric, you know who she is, right? She, former anchor of Today, long time NBC employee. Even she didn't watch Joe Biden live. She actually said that after the Trump one was over, she tweeted out that she was getting calm now because she was watching Joe. Like, that's a weird thing for a fucking news reporter or journalist or whatever the fuck you want to call yourself, lady, to be saying. Yeah. It's weird. But she was happy to tell the world. So good on her, I guess. Apparently, watching Joe makes her calm. Like, you mean like put you to sleep? Because I have trouble sleeping through that weird stutter where he says really stupid shit. I've never heard a stutter that made somebody say, then you ain't black. That is a very specific stutter. I've never heard a stutter that made people say, you know, maybe that's the problem. Maybe the Klan isn't racist. Maybe they all just got stutters. They got the Joe stutter. Did anybody think of that? Maybe we've been mischaracterizing them all this time. Maybe it's just the Joe stutters that they got. Because shit, what else would it be? Couldn't be that Joe might actually be a little bit racist. A little bit. Not like, you know, throw them in chains racist, but certainly your old school, oh, grandpa, please stop talking. Nobody wants to hear it. Kind of racist. It's just funny to me that he gets such a pass on this. I only saw a very tiny bit of Joe's town hall. I got to see a little bit of Trump's. I tuned in when him and what's the new Skeletor over there at NBC? What's her name? The one that was with him tonight. Why do they do this to all the people that work in? Why do all the people who come out of network television and spend a lot of time there, all the women come out looking like Skeletor? Thank you. This is Kyle says, hello, chat people, monkey, or chat people and monkey. Hello, sir. I appreciate it. Savannah Guthrie, that's her name. Donald Trump made the statement that they came out with They came out with a statement that said 85% of people wearing masks are getting COVID. And she goes, that's not what it said. I know the study you're talking about. And we actually went through that a little bit on Lords of the Night because they brought that up. That is not what it said. And then in the fact check, because it's from CNN, after it said that's not what it said, it had a paragraph explaining that that's exactly what it said. We talked about this on this show maybe a week ago. It was not too long after it came out. Somebody had sent it to me. And it showed most of the people who got COVID. Now, it could be that they're lying, but 85% of the people that they were talking to who got COVID said they wore a mask all or most of the time. And that should not be surprising, because I'm going to repeat this for you guys. If you're wearing a mask, it's not to keep you from getting sick. When you're wearing a cloth mask, it is not to keep you from getting sick. It's to keep you from spreading your fucking germs. So it makes a lot of sense that it's not keeping people from getting sick, because that's not what it's meant to do. Now, if you're wearing the N95 mask, the respirator masks, then you probably have a much lower chance of getting it, because that actually filters the air you're breathing in. So, yeah, this woman, I start watching that, and then dinner gets here. So my son went out and got us dinner. So I went upstairs and had dinner with them, and I didn't get to see any more of the Trump one. And we're getting ready to do the show. I'm like, oh, fuck it. I'll tune into Biden real quick. 10 seconds of Biden. 10 seconds of Biden. And he says, and you know, that when they passed that, they said they should name that, for my deceased son, my deceased son, Bo. And it's like, oh my God. Oh my God. The most exciting thing about Joe Biden is that he has a dead son. Even Joe Biden knows that. And I do wonder how it feels to be Hunter every time Bo is brought up. And I get it. Bo died. And I, as a parent, I do not want to live through that. I want my children to outlive me by a long, long shot. My grandchildren to outlive me. My I do not want anybody that came from my genes to pass before me. So I'm sure that's very hard for Joe. But stop running on your dead kid, and maybe give some attention to that crackhead that you call a son who's still alive. Does he still call him a son? They don't get their picture taken together very often. You don't see Hunter out on the campaign trail for dad. Crackheads for Biden. Speaking of crackheads for Biden, we might get into, I might pull up a fact check of the things. But for the most part, I mean, it was just what you'd expect. Joe Biden up there lying. Oh, the only other interesting thing that I've seen so far that came out of it is that Joe Biden said that he'll let us know after the confirmations on Amy Barrett whether he will be in favor of packing the court, which, by the way, that means yes. He said that if the Senate doesn't give her a hearing, if there's not a full Senate debate, that was what it was, Senate debate, then he might be for stacking the court. And it's like, then you're for stacking the court. Just say that. Why are you being such a puss, Joe? There was a great moment, because I only watched a little bit of the hearings from this morning. And they voted that they're going to have the committee vote on the 22nd. It'll move to the floor after that. And then McConnell will have to tell us when the full floor vote is. And if I was him, I'd get it done as soon as possible. So Joe has to commit to whether or not he's going to stack the court before the election. Isn't it funny that Joe is like, we shouldn't have this. There's an election going on right now. Like, well, then why don't you tell people what your opinion is on stacking the court right now? If they deserve a vote on who's going to be the the next Supreme Court justice. Don't they deserve to know what their president would do regarding the Supreme Court? Isn't that something they deserve to know? There's people voting right now. Yeah, and they're doing so without the benefit of what the fuck you would do. But don't worry, Joe. Nobody's voting for you because of you. We all know that. We all know that. Nobody's voting for Joe because of Joe. They're voting because they don't like Trump. And some of them are just Democrats, so that's what they do. Some people are blue, no matter who. Some people are red, no matter red. There's nothing that rhymes that way. Red, no matter who. It's a good 30-35% on each side, depending on the election year. And that should make you sad. That should make you real sad. Like, I mean, you're talking up to 70% of the electorate is making their choices without even giving a shit who that person is. Isn't that fucked up? But anyway, they had the Barrett things today. And the Democrats tried, you guys. They tried. They tried to pull a committee filibuster. Graham gets up there and he's like, okay, I'm going to call for an end to the vote here and to vote to have this on the 22nd. And Dick Durbin's there to go, excuse me, Mr. Chairman. Frank, thank you. What if Hunter let the emails be found as a screw you for forgetting he's still alive? Well, I don't think he would have done that and included video of him smoking crack. That's how you get a Kardashian show, not how you get your dad's attention. Durbin interrupts. He's like, yo, Mr. Chairman, point of order here. You can't have this vote without at least 2 members of the minority party up here. And he goes, that's fine. He goes, I'm going to do it anyway. He actually said this, I'm going to do, he goes, there may be a time where you guys are in the minority or the majority. And he goes, and I'm going to do right now what you guys are going to do then. If we try doing this to you, we're going to vote anyway. And so he just fucking votes. It was fucking amazing. And so there's not a single vote besides Durbin's recorded. All of the other ones were Durbin voting by proxy for all of the other people. And it was just funny. The funniest part is right after the vote, all of the senators from the other side showed up. All the Democrats showed up. And one of the first ones to speak was Amy Weinbach Klobuchar. Man, that woman's a moron. And she goes into this tirade about how that we've never done this before. And in fact, the closest we came was Lincoln. And Lincoln said, you know what? I am not going to nominate somebody because we're too close to the election. To which Ted Cruz, don't try to pull that shit with Ted Cruz around. Ted Cruz has studied this. He has. And he listens to her speak, and then he pipes up. He's like, all right, you brought up Lincoln. Let's talk about that. He goes, you're talking 1864. This Congress was out at the time. And back then, you guys, your politicians didn't all live in Washington. They would go home. And it would take a while to get home. There weren't jetliners to take them out to California, you know. Well, California wasn't even a state then. So out or down to Texas. How about down to Texas? You didn't have a 747 waiting for you. Took a couple of days to get down there. And so what they used to do is Congress would come into session for short periods of time, take care of the nation's business, and then take their ass back home. And when it was out of session, it was out of session. So Lincoln did not nominate anyone. And then as soon as the election was over, as soon as the Senate was back in Washington in December of that year, Lincoln nominated somebody who was confirmed in a single day. They keep talking about how fast this is being. And so he used, you guys want to use Lincoln. His nominee was confirmed in a single day. And the look on Amy's face, because they'd point over to her every so often, you could just see her. You could just see her dreaming of the amount of wine it was going to take to wash away Ted spanking that ass. Because here's the thing, whether or not you like Ted Cruz, he's an intelligent man. He has knowledge in his head. And Amy Klobuchar is a dumb woman. Notice I say dumb woman, not woman, because there's a difference. There's smart women out there. Amy's not one of them. She's a goddamn moron. Ted Cruz also accused Kamala Harris of lying, of flat out lying. He was nicer about it than that. But what was the wording he used? Bordered on a lie or something like that. Frank Hubbard says, I believe the average is 28 days. I think they said the average is actually 16, something like that. Maybe 28 is it. They mentioned that Ruth Bader Ginsburg, hers was a total of what? Maybe it was Ruth was 16 and there was 33 average. I forget, but it doesn't matter how quickly it goes. As long as they get all the facts they need. They could have confirmed her yesterday, and they already had everything they needed to know. The only thing, Dick Durbin brought up a point, and remember, he is the minority whip on the of the committee itself. He's what's her name? Feinstein. She's the minority leader of the what's it called? Committee. God damn. I've said that word like 100 times since we started. Anyway, but Durbin is her right-hand man. He's just underneath her on the committee. And he brings up, he goes, there's something wrong here. There's something wrong. We pass all of these people. And like Ginsburg, there was like 3 votes against Ginsburg. And the majority of the time, people have been passed by large margins. Large margins. And he goes, but there's something wrong. These people, they get in that chair now and they just lie to us. She got up there and she wouldn't tell us if she thinks climate change is real. She said, I don't really know. I haven't really looked into it. Because a judge spends all their time reading scientific literature. Yeah. Can't be a judge with 7 kids and a husband just like, what, that's out of my wheelhouse. I'm not going to pay attention. They get up there and they lie to us. Now, he did stop short of accusing her of directly lying. But he did, she wouldn't answer if she thinks this is bad or that is bad. What was one that he said? Was it, I bet she wouldn't answer whether or not the earth was flat or gravity exists or something stupid like that. Which is really insulting because she actually did. Kamala Harris made a big deal out of the point that Amy said was willing to admit that smoking is bad for you. So she answered some questions, you dumbass. She just told you that if there's any litigation that might be coming up, she wasn't discussing it. And that other people have come up before you and said that and then discussed litigation anyway, that's on them, not her. There is no good reason not to confirm this lady. But they're going to try not to anyway, and they're going to make a big deal out of it, and they're going to cabin all the shit out of this. Durbin wasn't wrong. There is something wrong in the Senate, but it is not with the people who come before them and have to answer their stupid ass questions. It is with the partisan divide that runs ugly from the Democrats, especially when they're not in power. There was no reason to put Kavanaugh through what they put him through. No reason. And then I still can't believe that when those fucking people get up there and like, how he got so mad She was perfectly calm. Well, let's talk about that. In their world, a woman describing her rape should be perfectly calm and collected. Does that make sense to you? And the rapist should be perfectly calm and collected if he didn't do it. Because when you're accused of doing something you didn't do, that's the rational response. When you're terrified of a man, the rational response is to, look like a fucking robot the whole time. Those make sense. Maybe I'm just too emotional. Kavanaugh's response to that made perfect sense to me. They also say roaming being calm is not an argument. Roaming being calm about what? Judge Barrett is doing exactly what XRBG said. No hints, no forecast, no previews, and no special obligations. She did. And I have not watched every confirmation hearing ever, but pretty much every judge since. Yeah, I'm trying to think of the ones who've been done. I think most of the ones since RBG have said that. And it just makes sense. In all of her videos. Why would her being calm in her videos be in an argument? I don't understand what the reference is to. Wait, so it's not ACB's job to be a morality judge. Well, that's one of the problems they're having, It's like, oh, she's one of them old Catholics, y'all. It's one of them Catholics, y'all. She don't believe in aborting the babies like Fleetwood Mac. Don't forget, guys, without abortion, you would not have Fleetwood Mac. And then me and my wife would agree one more time on music because Fleetwood Mac wouldn't be there. I think, and some people are going to be mad about this, I think Fleetwood Mac sucks ass. I think the vast majority of their music is utter garbage. It sounds like somebody took a stream, a beautiful, lovely sound of a stream, and threw cats fucking into the middle of it. And somewhere off in the distance, there was a goat. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. And I always have, and that's not me just saying this because of politics. You can ask Lady Monkey. I fucking hate Fleetwood Mac. I think they are one of the most overrated bands to ever come out of the shithole they sprung from. But, yeah, I think they're absolute garbage. But who was it that came out? Was it Stevie? Which one of those dirty whores came out and told us that if it wasn't for her abortion? Yeah, Stevie Nicks. You wouldn't have Fleetwood Mac if I didn't abort my child. Wasn't that great? Isn't that great, you guys? That child sacrificed itself for shitty music. Metallica and Queen are overrated as shit. Metallica, I'd give you. I like Metallica, but there was just Metallica got big in large part people rejecting the end of hair metal, which is kind of funny. And it was kind of the last bastion of radio played heavy metal. They were a product of their time, but I still enjoy some of their music. Now, as for Queen, you're just wrong. The various different styles and compositions they pulled off is just amazing. They've probably gotten a lot of extra love with Freddie Mercury dying of AIDS when he did and everything. But Queen was absolutely an excellent band, and Freddie's vocal range is absolutely amazing. Yeah, very few people who could pull it off the way he did. But anyway, remember, ladies, if you want to be rich and famous and help the world out by giving them music that some people like, scrape that kid out. Who's the worst person in the Senate? Oh, man. There's a lot of bad ones in the Senate. But Hirono's probably, ever since I became aware of that woman, there's nothing she said I haven't hated. Nothing I've seen her said. That woman's an idiot. That woman is a goddamn moron. And she is an angry, evil little troll. But grunge was the end of hair bands. Grunge was the end of good music. The rise of grunge gave us dirty people, garbage music that could barely be understood, people who were proud not to actually know how to play their instruments, which gave us boy bands because people were desperate to listen to anything that had actual harmony to it. And then that led on to what we have now. It's probably what gave us 2020. We're a garage band from Seattle. We don't bathe. Our fleas play our music. Fucking hate grunge. Hey, Vanilla Bear, how you doing, sweetheart? Look, if you guys like any of the kind of music I'm pissing on, by all means, like it. I just think it's garbage. We're all allowed to like different things. Thank you, Frank. Metallica and Queen are amazing, though if you're not into metal, that's your taste. But the Beatles and the Rolling Stones are overrated. I never liked the Stones. There's I don't know if there's any Stones song I like. I like the Beatles, but the Beatles are just pop music. They were, I mean, again, a product of their time. If the Beatles came out even 10 years later, nobody would have cared at all. They just got to be the biggest name in the British invasion. And ladies were loving to run around and throw their panties on the stage for these guys. Duck Duck says, I fucking hate the Beatles. I don't hate the Beatles. I like some of their songs. But it's just catchy nonsense pop. And then John Lennon went and wrote Imagine, and he was rightfully shot for it. Someone was playing the Macarena at a party. You know, Macarena is one of those songs, and there's several of them throughout history, that it is dumb. It is fucking stupid. It is garbage, but it is so catchy that I'll listen if it comes on. I don't care. Stones have longevity. Ironic considering the amount of drugs they used. Or they're well preserved. You don't know. How did we get off on music? Oh, because of this nasty bitch. This nasty bitch. I want to get back to her because I do want to put that into perspective. Seriously. Saying you wouldn't have Fleetwood Mac if I didn't abort my baby. Imagine a mother telling you she killed her 1-year-old child because she wanted to be famous. Would anybody think that was okay? Well, I mean, okay, there's some who would. There are people actually who advocate aborting a child, the ability to, quote, abort a child up to a year after birth. Now, very few people do that, but they do exist. Imagine a guy who comes out and tells you the only reason I was able to be successful in life is because I got this chick pregnant, and instead of doing right by her, instead of any child support payments or anything like that, I just left and took care of myself. Would anybody, you think that would be celebrated on the cover of magazines? Thank you, Frank Hubbard. Casey Anthony. Well, hers was a little bit older, wasn't it? Wasn't she like 3? But yeah, same basic point. I wouldn't be able to be famous if I didn't kill my child. But I got a child vacuumed out of my uterus, and if I hadn't, you wouldn't have me bleeding like a goat into a microphone. It's literally telling people, look, if you want to be famous, kill your kid. I do think it's... Are there no successful women who have had children? Are they literally saying you have to choose one or the other? Huh. That must be a quite the surprise to Judge Barrett. I wonder how many abortions she's had. Wow, wouldn't have any blood sacrifices. Even if you support abortion, somebody coming out and saying this should fucking disgust you. Should fucking disgust you. You wouldn't have my music if it wasn't for my abortion. Well, goat lady, I will trade every piece of music you and Fleetwood Crap have ever made to have that kid in the world. The fact that you wouldn't, well, that says more about you than it does about me. Thank you, Midnight Next. All liberal women are on some step in progression to becoming Casey Anthony. I don't think that's necessarily true. I try not to paint with that broad of a brush, but all women who support abortion, I would say, have some issues. Keldrig, thank you so much. You know what? I'll get to this in a second. Thank you, Keldrig. They're not technically wrong. You will be famous if you kill your kid. It just probably won't be for the reasons you want. No, and I get what you're saying there, and that's why it's hard to make that the comparison. Imagine somebody becoming famous. Imagine if this chick from Fleetwood Mac had said, the only reason you have Fleetwood Mac is because I killed my 1-year-old son and nobody ever found out. Would that be acceptable? I think some people think it would be, because to some people, kids don't matter at all. But I do find it funny, people who go, I support the right to choose. I would never have an abortion. Like, well, why not? Why wouldn't you do it? How can you support something that you would never do? And I mean, I would never visit a prostitute, but I support the legalization of prostitution. But that's not exactly the same. I don't have to be one. I'll never be a prostitute. Nobody will pay me to sleep with me. I'm not saying, look, if Lady Monkey was never around, like if she left me, she came to her senses and left, and I was really hard up, all right, maybe I'd buy a whore. So see, in that case, even then, like, yeah, okay, I could see it in some way. But people I would never do it, but I think it's okay for other people to do. What other things do you feel like that about? What other things do you feel? Because why wouldn't you ever do it? I would never do that, but I don't make that choice for other people. What about murder? Is it okay for some people to kill others in cold blood? Well, no. Well, why not? Just because you'd never do it, why are you judging them for it? Well, that's taking a life. Ooh. Now I know why you guys are so obsessed with cells. So obsessed. Imagine if RGB had been, or IPG had been aborted. Yeah. I don't even come, because there's some people, what if we've killed the person who could have cured cancer? You know, that's not the reason not to do it. The reason not to do it is because the time for birth control is before you're pregnant. The time for responsibilities before you're pregnant. Once you are, a whole different set of responsibilities pops up. We have some of the most lax abortion laws in the world. Monkey, you can support someone's right to make a decision even if it goes against your personal beliefs. Okay, fair enough. Can you give me an example of something besides sucking a kid out with a vacuum that's close to sucking a kid out with a vacuum that you'd approve of people doing that you wouldn't do yourself? And let me I want to put this in perspective too. When we're talking about this, imagine the mother's in labor and that's when she decides she wants an abortion. Because if you are willing to let somebody be aborted at 3 months, there is no good reason you wouldn't allow them to be aborted at 9. Because it is still just a clump of cells. It is still just a woman's body. Because anything that is true about it at 3 months is true about it at 9, other than the size and fully forming. It's still going to form into that unless something happens, unless somebody takes an action to stop it. And then you have the other people. Well, does that mean jacking off is killing a kid? You ever jacked off and made a baby? You ever come back to a tissue you forgot to throw away and suddenly there's a fucking infant laying there? No. And the people who make that argument are fucking retarded. This is one of the things that I disagree with George Carlin about, because he's like, well, if a woman has a period, that must mean she's a mass murderer. I'm like, George, that is so fucking stupid. That is so fucking stupid. Nobody has suggested that. But you got to take it to this retarded extreme to make murdering a baby okay. But that's all right. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry. Even calling it murdering a baby, it's all right. Don't get upset by me saying that. If you do it, you might become a famous singer or win some award or end up on Harvey Weinstein's couch sucking dick for a part that you can later tell people you never would have been able to do if you hadn't got that abortion. Sorry, this one pissed me off, guys. This one pissed me off. Normally, I don't get into the abortion one because fuck it. You can't change people's minds. You can't. They're just like, you just don't understand how hard it is to be a woman. I don't give a fuck. You made a choice. And somebody pointed out in the comments, you always hear, well, what about rape and incest, monkey? What about life of the mother? All right. Was Stevie Nicks raped? Was that an incestuous child? Was she about to die? No, she had an abortion of convenience. Stop bringing those up unless those are going to be your only arguments for abortion. And you're going to say that those are the only times they should happen. Because if you bring those up and you're for any time abortion, then you are a disingenuous shitbag who is unwilling to just say what you actually mean. You're either for it all the time, you're for it just these times, or you're not for it. And if you're for it all the time, don't make the arguments that, well, these are the times that it should be okay. All right, let's let's limit to that. No, don't know. Why are you making that argument, fucknut? Frank, thank you. Are you okay with death sentence? Would you be okay with being the executioner? Closest I could come to something similar. I would absolutely be an executioner. And there's a big difference there in that the people who are on death row made a choice that got them there. Now, I would like there to be a few harder checks on it because there's people like Kamala Harris in the world. But if I absolutely knew somebody was guilty, I knew they'd committed a horrible crime and took people's lives, yeah, I'd be happy to. I won't even wear a mask. I'll tell them my name before they die. I'll shake their fucking hand. Monkey, what are your thoughts on assisted suicide? I've never been against it. Doctor gives somebody a machine that's like, this will make it go quick for you as long as they turn it on themselves and they're the ones who did it. It's still them. It's not all that much different from them buying a gun and pulling the trigger themselves. But I never really got it, you know? There are times lately I used to wonder, like, okay, these people have been in pain for years, but it's still life. I tell you, I understand some days. It's still not something I could do to myself because I like me too much, but could I ever see a time of this getting that bad? Yeah. But I mean, you're talking about people who have doctors trying to make it the easy. I don't like the idea of state-assisted suicide. That gets just a little too close to, well, state killing. And then you get to, well, that person's a little too old. Send in the assisted suicide machine. They're going, I don't want to die. Well, we're going to assist you in some suicide today. Goodbye, Frank. You know what I mean? I believe assisted suicide should be used for terminally painful illness. I think it should be up to the person who's sick. I can't imagine losing all hope, though, for long enough to be like, to set up an appointment with a doctor. Nah, I mean, playing God, I don't believe in God, so it doesn't become an issue for me. Yeah, it's an ugly one. It's not one that's fun to talk about, but it's one that we haven't had as a country since Kevorkian. Kevorkian used to go around with his little death machine and hook up the stuff for him, and then he'd leave because he had to, and he'd show him what buttons to push, and then he'd come back when the heart meter went off, or however he knew they were dead. Like, shit, it didn't work. Give me the pillow. I'm going to assist this suicide. I just don't like the idea of the state doing it. Doug Resurrect, thank you. It should be an option. The last option, though. Yeah, well, as a species, putting ourselves in risk of dying is always the last, or should always be our last option. Nobody, I mean, like, how do I say this? You know, like somebody will do something heroic, like take the Secret Service, jump in front of a bullet for the president. Well, they'll do that if they absolutely have to. They don't like have shooters at the White House and test this all the time. And like, okay, today you got to jump in front of a bullet for the president. I'm like, but why? Why? You could just stop that guy from shooting. Nah, it's 3:30. It's shooting time. And putting yourself in mortal danger is not something that we do very often. Faithless says, well, there goes the X Games. Well, even then, I mean, as crazy as that shit is, it's still fairly safe. For the most part, people who do like your X sports and stuff, I'm sure there's potential X sports that just didn't become them because like everybody who did it died. But I mean, there's still some safety. There's physics that goes behind all that shit. So, I mean, it's stupid. It's a dumb thing to do. Jumping out of an airplane is a dumb thing to do. But there's a thrill to it and there's a safety to it. So you can still do dumb shit, but nobody jumps out of an airplane without a parachute going, I'm just going to take my chances. We call that just flat out suicide. That's not skydiving. That's suicide. Yeah, you just hit the ground when you have no other choice because the parachute didn't open or broke or you got tangled somewhere. Skydiving was a blast. I wish I could have done it in my younger years. The one time I'd gotten up the nerve to do it, I was too young, turned out. You had to be 18 and I was only 17. Damn it. And then there's like these days, like, would you ever jump out of a plane, monkey? Like, oh, hell no. No, I got too much to live for. It's safe. I believe you. I believe you. It looks fun too. But I'm good. I'm good. I got kids and grandkids and a wife. Will never will skydive. Too afraid of heights. I'm definitely afraid of heights, man. But I love the thrill that I get from being that afraid. That's awesome, man. So I like roller coasters. You get to the top of that first drop, because the first drop's the only real drop in it. By the end, the rest of them, no matter how big it is, but that first one, as you get into the crest of the hill, tick, and you can almost see over it, tick. And if you're in the front cart, it'll actually hang down for just a second before the carts pull off the chain, and you're just dangling there, staring down, going, "The fuck am I doing up here?" It is one of the greatest thrills I've ever known. Have you ever thought of indoor skydiving? Well, I mean, these days I definitely couldn't, but I've seen it and it doesn't look impressive to me. You're just floating on a giant fan. That's not skydiving. You know? There's no danger in that. It's not like you're going to fall through the blades. The fun of skydiving is being 5,000 feet in the air, jumping out with no net. Skydiving is overrated. I mean, if you're not scared of it, you can go tandem diving. Yeah, I've seen that. And nah, that's not for me either. I'd be more afraid of tandem diving. Like, you sure this shoe will hold both of us? I'm kind of fat, you know. The one I never understood was bungee jumping. You don't want to be the person where the cord finally doesn't work anymore. And that'll happen eventually. You ever use bungee cords? Eventually they give out. And when you're stretching them the way they do, and what happens if they get the wrong size for your fat ass? There's a lot of math that goes into that shit. Yeah. And I don't trust Americans enough with math. Maybe if it was some Asians who had the bungee jumping thing set up, I might think about it. Like, y'all did the calculations, right? You ain't let some honky back there do it, did you? I don't want to bounce off them rocks. You ever see the ones who do it over rocks? Like, why the fuck would you do that? At the very least, find a grassy field to do that shit in. So if you do end up banging your head, it's kind of soft at least. Circus Zero, thank you. I'm against assisted suicide. People who are that depressed are usually easier to manipulate into suicide, not to mention the potential to make it harder to find angels of death and their serial killers. I get that. I can see the potential problems with it, but the notion of it, I don't have a notion with. Literally dashed upon the rock. Man, I've seen some horrible shit in my time. Yeah. As I've gotten older, I've gotten safer with myself. See, here's something you youngins out there don't understand. When you're young, lots of really stupid shit sounds like a good idea. Especially you young men out there. A lot of really stupid shit sounds like a great idea. And that's why God made women. God made women to tell us, don't do that. And it turned out that worked until we got a little bit older. And so we stopped listening to our mothers, and God's like, Jesus Christ, these idiots are doing it again. And so he invented wives and girlfriends who could lure you away with vagina to keep you from doing stupid shit. And that's not working much anymore either, because, well, we've seen the state of vagina. Ebony, thank you so much. Would you go on a hot air balloon ride? Oh, hell no. Nuh-uh. Not even when I was willing to jump out of a plane would I go on one of those things. Fuck no. That is a hot air balloon of death. And I know there's people who like them. And I know people who tell me they're safe. And you could even show me that they're safer than driving in a car. And you know what? I'm still going to say, fuck no. Not even tethered, because I've seen them do that before, where they'll tether it and they'll only go up a few hundred feet. No. Fuck no. You're in a fucking wicker basket with a balloon that is only staying in the air because you have a little bit of fire blowing into it. Fuck no. What about bungee jumping out of a hot air balloon? No, I've seen that too. And if anybody deserved to fall to their death, it's some idiot who bungee jumps out of a fucking hot air balloon. See, I know what would happen if I bungee jumped out of a hot air balloon. This is what would happen. We'd be on the hot air balloon. I'd be scared, but like, all right, fine, I'm going to do it. I stand there with my arms crossed, shivering like a motherfucker. I'm like, all right, I'm going to do it. And I'd fall out backwards. I'd be falling and falling and falling. And there'd be just the slightest little tug as the basket detached from the fucking balloon, and we would all fall to our deaths, because that is what would happen if Monkey ever did that. Not only would I hit the ground, the basket would land on me because it's tethered to my ass. Would you go in a helicopter? Helicopters have 9 times more risk of death. I'd go in a helicopter, sure. And I am aware of the fatalities and stuff from it, but you got to live a little bit. You just don't want to have Kobe's pilot, which luckily for you won't be a problem again. I've been on a helicopter ride once. My dad was a huge fan. He loved riding in helicopters. One time he had to come home from the ship. They were actually going to put him in an airplane, and on his ships, they didn't have giant airplanes. Most aircraft carriers can't have giant aircraft planes or aircraft on them because they're just not made for it. So this little tiny plane was going to be on there. And I don't know if you guys know this, but airplanes it's not like launching a plane off the ground where it just slowly picks up the wings. No. The way they get planes off an aircraft carrier is they catapult those motherfuckers. You ever see pictures of them taking off and suddenly they just go? That is not from the pilot hitting the ignition and the wheels just going like your fucking car. No. That is from them literally being catapulted. And my dad, he was like, I do not want to do that. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And the day came, and for some reason the plane couldn't get there. So instead he had to ride in a Huey back. And he fucking loved it. Fucking loved it. He traveled in helicopters many times, being in the Navy. That's how they got around a lot. And he always enjoyed it. So he went from dreading this day to having a great day because he got to go on a long helicopter ride. John Ward just uploaded a video to YouTube. I'll check it out. I always watch John. Feeling sick as hell, peeps. Don't go in a hot air balloon right now, Brutus. I hope you feel better, man. Are we talking about hot air balloons? What are we? Don't go in things that look. I understand why hot air balloons were first tried. Okay. This is the dawn of flight for man. We're trying to figure out a way to break into the heavens. We don't have to do that anymore. If you'd never heard of a hot air balloon and your friend came to you and went, I know how we can fly. We're going to take a wicker basket. We're going to stand in it. We're going to put this big balloon on top of us and set fire to the wind underneath it. You'd be like, get the fuck away from me. You been drinking again? Somebody just came to you like, okay, look, I know you've never heard of this. Let's try this. You wouldn't do it? Fuck no. Be like, go away. You're wary of balloons. I'm hard out of submarines. Fuck that water. Look, I won't do submarines either. My grandfather was on it. I had a chance to tour a sub once, and I said, no. And that motherfucker was in dock. I'm like, no. Because I'll get in there and that fucker will sink and I'll have no way to get out. Nope. I don't mind going on a ship. There's always an exit. But consider the basic explanation for helicopters and rockets. We're going to blow ourselves up and go up. Well, you don't blow up a helicopter. If somebody's giving you the chance to go on a helicopter that explodes, don't do it. Okay, first and foremost, I don't want you to get hurt. Rockets, yeah, that is one of the most stupid, dangerous things we do. We literally put a rocket up somebody's ass and send them into space. But we don't have a better way to do it. And not many people do it. And we've lost a lot of people to rockets. Yeah, back in the day, do you guys know that the space shuttle was supposed to go up like, was it 3 or 4 times a year, something like that? And we only did it like once every couple of years, once a year, maybe twice a year. It was supposed to eventually become almost a commercial thing. And it was just so expensive and such a pain in the ass to get them ready to go again that there were cheaper ways. It was just cheaper to send a satellite up with just a rocket and no person involved. Explain an airplane to somebody that's never heard of one before. Giant metal cylinder with spinning blades. What about one with a jet engine on it? You know what? That still makes more sense than we're going to fly around in a fucking balloon in a wicker basket. You guys can try to make all kinds of flight sound weird, and to somebody who's never flown, sure. But I'm going to use... What about that guy? All right, to all of you who are like, hot air balloons are fine. What about that guy who put a whole bunch of fucking military weather balloons and attached them to his fucking lawn chair and launched his ass and ended up having to be saved by a helicopter as he's flying around in a lawn chair? Literally not much different. The only difference is he was using helium, and these guys are like, yeah, we'll just do it with hot air. Because you intentionally made it sound weird. I described it exactly as it is. It's a wicker basket, a giant balloon, where all they do is heat the air with fire. Where am I not describing it properly? Where am I describing it weird? He got a hell of a story, though. He did, and he's lucky he didn't die, dumbass. Because you can't do that. Anyway, like the nut job that did that with his child. Yeah. There's some weird shit that people will try that's dangerous, and we're like, yeah, let's not do that. The whole point of this was don't put yourself in mortal danger if you don't have to. Like that, I finally watched that video, guys, of the guy with the cat. He ran into the cougar in that park in California or wherever it was. And when it was described to us, it was described as he got near the cubs and then mama came out. He purposefully went near the cubs. When his video starts, he's walking towards them. I was in Utah. Thank you. He's walking towards them. If you see baby animals in the woods, even if their mom isn't a vicious predator, leave them the fuck alone. Don't mess with them. If he had never gone that way, if he had just stayed, even if he had stopped and stayed where he was, and just took a little video of it and then turned around and left, which is what you should do, he'd have been fine. Instead, this moron is walking towards them. He's walking towards baby vicious cats. They're not kittens. And their mom is not a house cat. He is lucky that mama, that mama was a good mama. Because at any point, she could have jumped his ass and killed him. He'd have been dead. She'd grab him by the neck and just break it and leave him. taking back to the kids for supper. Like, I was going to give you hot dogs, but we got dumbass for dinner tonight. And then it's like, so that shit just happened. Yeah, because you're a dumbass. You deserve to get eaten, you dumb fuck. Don't mess with animals. Because even there's sometimes you can get around them and their parents will abandon them. Leave them alone. It's so cute. Go to the zoo. Oh, now there's going to be people. Oh, monkey zoos are horrible. Are you guys those people? Did you see that video of the orangutan? Some guy threw it a cigarette and he picks it up and starts smoking. People were outraged. Oh my God, he gave that monkey a cigarette. One, it's an orangutan, shitheads. Two, yeah, probably learned that in some lab that it used to work at. And three, let the monkey smoke. My mom doesn't like zoos. I understand some of the arguments that they used to make about circuses, because those animals weren't always treated the best. And okay, zoo animals are treated very well. It does suck that they don't have more room, like when they have lions and tigers and shit like that. These are animals that usually take their hunting grounds are huge, but their hunting grounds are usually that huge because they have to be in order to find enough to eat. It's not. Have you guys ever watched videos of like lions and shit, like National Geographic? They're not the most active animals on the planet. It's not like your house cat and goes running through the house all the time for no fucking reason. They're giant, lazy animals. Most of the time, they're giant, lazy animals. The only time they really get exercise is when they're hunting. So I don't give much of a damn about it as long as they're being treated well. And zoos treat them well because that's an investment for them. Plus, well, most of the people who work there actually like animals. So it's also helped a lot with animal conservation. So if you don't like zoos, don't go to zoos, but don't try to ruin them for other people. If you know of a zoo that's treating animals badly, by all means, point them out. But if your example of them pointing them badly is that lion doesn't have a savanna to run across. The lions who live in the savanna don't run across it. Go watch a nature show. They are lazy as fuck. They make people on my 600-pound life look active. It takes a lot of energy to move something that big, that fast. If food is limited, you conserve energy. Cats are also just naturally lazy. Isn't it? What's the estimate? Something like 16 hours a day, 18 hours a day a house cat sleeps. And their big brothers and sisters in the wild aren't that much more active. They sleep a lot. They're basically sloths that can move fast when they need to. Makes Amberlynn Reed look active. Exactly. Lions sleep about 16 to 20 hours. Yeah, they're lazy. They don't need a savanna to cross. They do that because they have to. They have to go down to the watering hole, which may not be safe. So we have to live way over there. And then the females got to go get dinner. You better go get dinner, bitch. I'm hungry. The only other time you'll see them active is when, this is horrible. I learned this. Do you guys want to know facts about lions? I don't want to ruin lions for people who like them. When a lion takes over a pride, you know what he does to the babies? Any cubs, he'll kill them. Ain't that fucked up? Kills them. Dead baby. Time for me. So when Scar took over, he'd have killed the fuck out of everyone. But that also means that Simba and Nala were brother and sister. Did you guys know that Simba and Nala were brother and sister? It's okay that cats will bang their family. They don't know any better. They don't have these human hiccups we have. They don't care if they have a baby with 3 heads and 8 toes. Look, man, we had cats. I'm pretty sure they were inbred because the one came out. Cats have 18 toes. A house cat has 18 toes. It's got 4 on each front foot and 5 on each back. Or I have that backwards. Can't remember. Maybe it's 5 on the front and 4 on each back. Either way. One of the kittens came out with 28 toes. 10 more than it was supposed to have. One of their back feet looked almost like an extra foot. One of the other ones from that litter, his back foot, his one back foot was bent in at the knee, like a 90-degree angle bent in at the knee towards his belly. And so when he ran, it made a thumping sound. We named him Thumper. He was so cute, though. Thump, 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 thump. You always knew where his little ass was. The one with 28 toes, her name was Chong. Her brother Cheech only had like 22 toes. Like, God damn. Y'all need to you need to spread the gene pool around. Both my cats are sleeping on my bed. I love cats. They're wonderful. But by human standards, it's one of the weirdest thing about watching The Lion King is because they so humanize those animals. I mean, it's the script of Hamlet with lions. And Disney appropriating people's work again. But most of that whole thing is, if you applied what those animals would actually do, is really kind of disgusting. Yeah. Simba and Nala end up married and making their kid. What's their kid's name? Shit, I forget it. Because I know the latest movie that they made, not that live action, but the latest in the animated series is named after him. It's Something's Pride. But yeah, his parents were brother and sister. Cletus. Kira, is that what it is? Kira's Pride? I can't. Yeah, I know I've seen it. It's a horrible movie. It's a horrible movie. The only ones where Disney has made a sequel to one of their cartoons that I liked was with Aladdin. The second one isn't bad. Kiara, is that her name? Okay, I can't remember. Anyway, I liked The Return of Jafar was okay, and then I really liked the King of Thieves or Prince of Thieves, whatever it was. Where Aladdin's dad comes back and he finds out he's not really an orphan. Dad just went out for smokes. I like the second Lion King movie. How dare you? Now, do you mean Lion King 2 or do you mean Lion King 1.5? Thank you, Frank. Is Disney humanizing animals why we have so many vegans now? That could be. These fucking idiots, like, that's a mama and a daddy and a baby. I'm like, well, technically you're right, but they don't like live in a house and pay a mortgage and dad runs off to work and the kid does his homework. They're animals, you idiots. Loved King of Thieves. Is that what it was? King of Thieves? Yeah. Do you know there was a couple of Lion King TV shows? Are you talking about the cartoons cartoon ones that they've done? Disney's done that with a couple of their movies where they turn them into TV shows as well. The princesses have their own TV show that was done. I only know that because my daughter, oh my God, she loved Princess Jasmine so much. And we used to buy the cassettes, the videotape cassettes of the princess stories, because they had some that were Ariel and some that were, I'm sure there was a Belle one, even though Belle wasn't a princess. I mean, I guess she turns into one. Although the prince's parents are never around, so is he a prince or a king? I don't know. But anyway, there were Jasmine ones, and we used to watch the shit out of those. Ghost in the Darkness was a better Lion King movie, or better Lion movie. Oh, I like the Lion King. The first Lion King was good. But again, it's It's just Hamlet, and Hamlet's a good story. Disney predictable programming. I wouldn't mind their live action ones if they'd stick to the stories, because the live action Aladdin actually isn't that bad. It's not that bad, but they cut out a whole part at the beginning, because at the beginning, Aladdin doesn't know Jasmine, and there's the part where the before those two meet, there's the part where the prince comes in to marry Jasmine, and he goes off in a huff because Raja bit him in the ass, which is funny. And then she sneaks off after that. And when he sings One Step or whatever it is, his first song, he doesn't know her yet. But in the live action, they made it so they already knew each other, so they could make time for a song about her being a strong, independent woman. Jasmine in the original cartoon was a strong, independent woman. She stood up to her Muslim father and is like, I'm not marrying that guy. Try that in the Muslim world. Street Rat, is that the name of the song? I just remember. Do you guys remember that level from the Nintendo game? Holy fuck, that was rough. Anyway, she was already a strong, independent woman. You didn't need a song telling us I am a strong, independent woman. And it's not even a good fucking song. Beauty and the Beast. It's not my favorite Disney cartoon. I've learned to love it more because Little Butt did, and so I had to watch it a bunch. The song's called One Step. See, I was right. How dare you? Anyway, the changes they made to Beauty and the Beast are just stupid. They're just dumb. Why do we need to see the prince at a gay French ball at the beginning of the thing? I don't need to see that. It's padding for some stupid shit that doesn't belong. The thing is, these could be good movies if they'd stick to the original. There's a reason the original was original. It was good enough. There's a reason it was beloved. People liked it. And then they changed it. They're like, no, we got to update it for today so kids today can have stupid in their lives. I still haven't watched the new Lion King, but Peanut loves it. Peanut absolutely loves it. And I don't think it's necessarily that she loves the Lion King. She likes anytime animals are on TV, apparently. But she really likes the big fluffy cats. So she watches a lot of Lion King. They made the witch a trespassing asshole. In Beauty and the Beast, yeah. Excuse me. The original story of it is that he just, turns her away immediately, and in the movie, it's fucking stupid. Lion King and Robin Hood are my hubby's favorite. Oh, I love the Robin Hood one. Its animation is dated, of course, and they're gonna make a new Robin Hood movie, you guys, based on that with human-like foxes. What's the word for that when they anthropomorphic? Is that what it is? Animals. Don't do that to Robin Hood. I love that. I love that movie. It's one of my favorites ever. And it's actually not that great of a movie if you watch it, but do we need another fucking Robin Hood movie? Don't we have like 8 bajillion of them? Anywhere from ones where he dies like he did in some of the original literature to King of Thieves or Prince of Thieves, which, by the way, horrible movie. Bad Robin Hood movie, but still a good movie. It's a bad Robin Hood movie. They didn't even have Prince John in it, for fuck's sake. How do you do Robin Hood without Prince John? I mean, he's what they were fighting against. Oh, it's just the sheriff, is it? Because, and I mean, if you're going to have Alan Rickman as the sheriff of Nottingham, I guess you don't want anybody to try to upstage him because it's not going to work. But you bring in the prince's cousin, I'm sorry, the sheriff's cousin, and you don't have Prince. What? Screw you. That was a great movie. No, it wasn't. Stop it. And fucking Christian Slater as a whiny, broody Will Scarlet, who's suddenly Robin Hood's estranged half brother. Dear fuck. Christopher Robin was funny. All right. Christopher Robin was cool. Christopher Robin was a little light in the loafers. That's all. Rickman was awesome. He was awesome. But, I mean, his performance was ridiculously over the top. Kevin Costner couldn't decide if he was going to speak with with a British accent. How great would that have been if he was up there doing an Asian accent for Robin Hood? I'd fucking watch that. But there were just changes that were made to the movie that made no fucking sense, or to the story, and it was done so they could have this big theatrical summer release and like just tell a better Robin Hood story. It was okay if they called him John Smith instead of Robin Hood, fine. But I love how they come up. What if we give him a nickname, brother or cousin? Something that'll scare the people, like Robin the Hood. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, are you really going there? We had to come up with a origin story for the name of Robin Hood. For fuck's sake. Did you see the new Robin Hood with the guy from Kingsman? No, I haven't. I think the last new Robin Hood I saw was probably Men in Tights. Which, by the way, far superior to Prince of Thieves. Again, I like that movie, just not as a Robin Hood movie. I own a copy on DVD. I had a copy when it was on VHS. I've seen it many times. I like the movie, just not as a Robin Hood movie. And they should go through and just cut out all of the Christian Slater parts because they're bad. They're bad. Fucking, why they got to put an emo little brother in everything now? Anyway, Robin Hood Chicago would be sweet. So Bernie Sanders. Men in Tights is a superior Robin Hood film. Yes, absolutely. And I love I love his line, and unlike some other Robin Hoods, I can speak with a British accent. That was so great. Emo sells with teenagers. Does it? I hated emo kids and shows and movies, even when I was a kid. Like, why is that kid so angsty? It's what ruined Angel. You guys ever watch Angel, the Buffy spinoff? I loved it. We're just having a random talk today, I guess, guys. Sorry, I did the political stuff at the beginning. It'll be fine. Angel was a rough spinoff at the start. The first season is kind of rough. The first appearance of Spike in that show, though, the one that Spike's in season 1, is fucking amazing. But they tried bringing in that police girl, and they realized that she's not working, so they get rid of her. It was fucking great. And season 2 is just kind of okay. In the season 1, when Doyle dies too, that's an excellent episode. And then they bring Wesley in, and it works so much better with him, Christina Carpenter, and Angel. What's his real name again? John? No, I forget his name. Boring English, whatever his name is. They had a good trio going on, and season 2 is pretty good. And then season 3, they just kind of get weird. And then season 4, they bring in David Boreanaz, or however you say his name. Thank you, Stunlock. How did I know you'd know that? He's a pretty man, and Stunlock's, I know. So I apologize, Stun. That wasn't nice. He does not sound like that, guys. I played games with him. they bring in this angsty, fucking horrible teenager to play his son, and I just hated him. He spends the whole time brooding and bitching and moaning, and I wanted him to die the whole time. Seriously. And then they do get rid of him. They bring him back for one episode, and he was actually okay in season 5 for the one episode he's in. Connor damn near ruined that show. Connor did ruin that show. He was horrible. It's fucking horrible. Stenlock, for what you're saying there. My daughter is in love with Angel. David Boreans, or how you say his name. Absolutely loves him. And we were sitting upstairs a couple of weeks ago. She was over. And she had Peanut sitting in her lap, and they were watching either Angel or Buffy. I can't remember which. And he comes on the screen, and he's not vampire or anything, but it's just him. And Peanut looks at the screen, and she starts getting grumpy. She starts like whining a little bit. And my daughter looks at her. She goes, "No, he's beautiful. We like him." I don't think you can force that on her, honey. David still be looking good at all those years after the TV show Bones, man. He's a pretty man. I'm not going to lie. He's got a big ass forehead, but I mean, he is a pretty guy. You ever seen him? Go back and watch the original season of Buffy when he was younger. He actually looks funny. He's got a funny shaped head. And it really jumped out at me because he was on an episode of Married with Children once. Sorry, guys. I had to make noises you don't want to hear with my nose. And there was nobody here to talk for me. But, yeah, he was on an episode of Married with Children where he dates, he's dating Kelly. And she has to cancel a date with him to go to the movies with her parents. And when they go, he's there with another girl. But he looks so weird, man. He looks so weird. But I guess he had to be like 19 or something at the time. And yeah, he's a beautiful old man. I hope I look that good at my age. Probably not. Hard to believe he's 51. If you're talking about the guy who plays Angel, no, it sounds just about right to me because I know he's a little bit older than me. And yeah, I haven't watched his new SEAL show. Somebody mentioned it in chat. I haven't seen that. I watched all of Bones except for the last season. I stopped watching Bones because they killed what's his name, the shrink. There's a lot of episodes of Bones that annoy me. And I'll just skip them as I'm watching. But I've watched that whole season or that whole show, except for the last season, because they killed him off and they brought in that other FBI guy. And I'm like, no. Bones was a fun show. Yeah, it was. And there's actually a lot of science in that show. There's a lot of stuff that, like anytime like a trial will come on and they're like, this thing happened. Hey, I understand what that means. I learned it on Bones. A lot of science. Sweets. Yeah. What was his real name though? His last name was Sweets, but was it, fuck. Yeah. They killed him off because he wanted to go do a movie or something. Instead of like just writing his character out, they killed him. They're like, you fucking bastards. You fucking bastards. And then didn't they like make Hodgins, cripple, and they took away all his money and like, oh, this is fucking stupid. Made it fucking stupid. Christina Applegate is still hot. She is. And you know what? I was never the hugest Christina Applegate fan. And as I watch Married with Children, I see she's a beautiful young lady, but I can't go, oh, she's hot. And there's a reason for that. Lance Sweets. That's it. Thank you so much, Lance. Because what's her name calls him her Lance a lot. Anyway, my best friend's daughter looks like Christina Applegate. Their faces are shaped identically. They have very similar eyes, very similar nose, and they have the exact same smile. So I sit there, I'm like, and every time I'm seeing it, I'm not seeing Kelly Bundy on stage. I'm seeing my friend's daughter. I'm like, she's cute. I can't say she's hot. I just can't do it. She looks too much like this little girl that I've known since she was 7. The Murder in the Meninist. What is that, like one of the episodes or something? Man, if you guys haven't ever watched Bones, I do highly recommend it. How many seasons were that? Like 12? Don't watch the last season. You know how many series I tell people don't watch the last season? Married with Children, don't watch the last season. It's not worth it. Bones, don't watch that last season. Scrubs, do not even put. If somebody gives you a copy of Scrubs season 9 for free, punch them in the face because they hate you. I watched like 3 episodes of that and I'm like, oh, fuck no. My son tells me it gets better after that. I'm like, I don't care. They ruined it right there. Don't watch the last season of Buffy. Skip season 4 of Angel and definitely watch season 5 because season 5, Angel has one of my favorite endings to a television show ever. It's fucking beautiful. And apparently there's a comic book that goes on after it to explain what happens, but I don't need it explained because the end of Angel, I'm going to ruin it for anybody who hasn't seen it. They are in dire straits. They're as beat up as they can be. There's monsters taking over the whole city. And somebody asks, what do we do now? And the very last line of the show is, I don't know about you guys, but I always wanted to slay a dragon. And it's like, that's it. That's the end. I was like, that's so fucking cool. They didn't have to tie up all the story ends. They leave some of it to your imagination so you can decide what happens next. Too many of them want to tell us everything that happened. The only one that I've seen where they, go that far into what did happen is like Sons of Anarchy. The end of that one was excellent. The only way it probably should have ended. Although that show probably should have only ran like 2 seasons. There's way too many butt rapes in that show. Throwing that out there. And to everybody I see several people going to sleep. Good night, guys. Hope you're having a good night and that you sleep well and that you dream of something that makes you wake up happy. Breaking Bad is good. See, I get into a lot of arguments with people over Breaking Bad because I hate what they did with Jesse's character. They turned him into a simpering little bitch. And that just doesn't go with the character that they established him as at the beginning. And I'm okay with Walt dying and all that. But just what they did with Jesse's character just ruined the whole probably last 2 seasons for me. Jesse was they turned him into a whiny little bitch. We got an emo kid with lots of angst, you guys. That'll make it great. Really? James Colley, thank you. Wee little puppet man, and my face is leaking, and I wish to do more violence. Part 2 of the best lines in season 5. Wee little puppet man from what's the name of that one? Smile Time? There's an episode where Angel gets turned into a puppet, and it is one of the best episodes of any show I've ever watched. I laugh every time I see it. With the wee little puppet man. I can't do the accent. I can't do his accent. Do you guys know he doesn't actually have a British accent? First time I saw him on one of the special features for Buffy, I'm like, wait, what the fuck? James Colley. Oh, that was the one you just did. Thank you so much. There was another one that came through over here. But James, thank you for that. And yeah, my face is leaking. I wish to do more violence. What was her name? The goddess who took over Fred's body. Frank, thank you. The worst part of Sons of Anarchy prison rape is how often the show writer wrote his own character into getting raped. Oh, is that? There's just no need. I mean, okay. There's all right. Look, he's getting raped again. This is meaningful the 100th time I've seen it. Last season of House is okay. The last season of House was garbage. Sorry to disagree with you. Garbage. Utter crap. The last episode of House was fucking amazing. Fucking amazing. And it actually fits with the character. For those of you who haven't seen the last episode of House, House walks away from everything, and he does it for Wilson, to go help Wilson enjoy the end of his life. And throughout the show, it's like House doesn't care about anything, and he treats Wilson like garbage a lot. But the only thing House ever has done anyone that he's ever done something for selflessly was Wilson. And there's very few times that he does it, but he's the only one. And Wilson means something to him. And if you watch the episode where they explain how they became friends, it just makes sense. It's the kind of thing that House would like that. Yeah, that's the kind of thing this weirdo would attach to that. And so at the end of Wilson's life, House fakes his death and disappears to go spend the rest of his life, or spend the rest of Wilson's life with him, and let the guy have some fun before he died. Excuse me. There was a thing that popped up over here, but I can't read it all because my computer's being goofy. Hang on just a second, guys. Get this out of the way. There we go. Sorry about that. Frank says, I've refused to watch House on a dumb principle. To me, House is a horribly great horror movie series. That is a dumb reason to watch it, because I know what you're talking about. House and House 2, the second story. Was there a House 3? I don't know if there was one. But that is a dumb reason not to watch House. And I get you. I have things where I don't like, I got my weird quirks. House is worth it. How about this? Think of it, instead of being called House, as Princeton General Hospital. There you go. Yeah, what is it? Princeton Plainsboro or something like that. James Colley, thank you. I'm out of the hospital now. Thanks to all for the well wishes. Oh, I'm glad to hear you're out of the hospital, bud. How you feeling? And you don't have to donate again to tell me that. Just how you feeling. House was a good show. Yeah. It's a very overdramatic show. They make a little bit too much of his drug use, because if you're watching, there's never any indication that his drug use is causing a problem. All of it is one of the problems with House, is that all of the problems of his drug use are caused by other people. He has no actual real problems from doing it. There's no real side effects to it. He just takes opioids and he's fine all the time. And then people are like, oh my God, he takes all these drugs. We have to do something to intervene. And that causes a problem for House. It would have been, if they were going to do that, the only times you see him like where the drugs are a problem is like when he tries to get clean. Or there is like one episode where he like is so drug induced, he imagines him and Cuddy having a relationship. But 99.99% of the time in that show, his drug use isn't the issue. It's everyone else. Everyone else. And leave the man alone. If he's not showing an issue, then don't give him some shit. That, or take the shit away from him and lock him up. And then every one of them give him all this shit for doing it. And these several times they get a chance to actually put a stop to it, they don't. Because House is just that good. Which, by the way, he's really not that good after season 1. If you guys watch that show, by the time, especially like mid season 2, the cases are weak. Like, they're really weak. The beginning the beginning series, I mean, there's a lot of really random stuff. Like, okay, nobody else can figure this out. And so they send it to him and he has to figure it out. And he always does because Wilson says something stupid. By the end of season 2, there's some episodes where they don't even pay attention to the case at all. It is literally just in the background. And they like almost always cut off somebody's foot or their head or whatever to try to save somebody. Oh man, the episode where oh God, what's his name? Omar Epps. Shit, I can't think of his name. He killed that lady because he gave her the wrong treatment, and giving her that treatment literally meant she had no chance of living. That's a fucking hard one to watch. Oh, it's so good though. So good. Anyway, let's move on. I don't mean to get on these shows, but there's so many great shows out there that you guys should watch. Foreman, yes, thank you. It's Omar Epps. He has a very brief scene in the movie Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood. And it is one of my favorite scenes. ER was a good show a portion of the time. I watched probably the first season of ER, maybe into the second, and then it just got too General Hospital-y. If I wanted to watch a daytime soap opera, I would. Yeah, I just did. It just got a little redundant, and it's okay. I mean, I know there's people who loved it, but I watched all of ER. I don't blame people for it. I just was watching other shit. I couldn't even tell you what I watched. So, who won there? You have memories, and I don't know the fuck I did. For classics, I enjoy Hogan's Heroes. I never liked that as a kid. And anybody who's been in chat long enough can tell you why. Omar Epps, worst replacement actor in Major League 2. Yeah, that was sad. But by then, I mean, by 2, Wesley Snipes has become a really big star. So in the first one, Wesley Snipes, I mean, he wasn't even on the box. They put Corbin Burnson on the box instead. I really like Happy Days. I don't remember much of Happy Days. I know we watched it when I was a kid. When I was a kid, the only things I remember watching was the Batman show. I know I saw other things. I know I saw Mork and Mindy, and I know I laughed at it, but I couldn't remember why. I watched Dukes of Hazzard, which I really liked, but I didn't remember any of it until they started replaying it when like Nick at Night kind of things became a thing. I remember watching so many. I mean, I know I watched Different Strokes and Facts of Life and the one with Michael J. Fox before he started shaking. We watched all of that shit. I just don't remember any of it. Miami Vice. The only thing I remember about Miami Vice is that the music was cool and they stood around a lot. They posed a lot. They were always standing like they were waiting to have an album cover shot. I've been watching Orville recently, and it's now amazing, but I found it to be a fun watch. It's not amazing, but I found it to be a fun watch, better than STD. All you need to know about Star Trek Discovery is that its fucking initials are STD. For fuck's sake. Chips, yep, I remember watching Chips. I even remember how they wrote it in when Eric Estrada hurt himself and they had to write it in to the show, and they have him slide his bike, and so he got hurt. I remember watching Chips and watching the two actors. Remember when they brought in 2 different actors, the same that they had done on Dukes of Hazzard. That's the name of that show. I just mentioned it. Dukes of Hazzard. That was a show that was not supposed to be. It was a well, fuck it, we don't have anything else to put on. Put on the Hillbilly Show. And it took off. And it became huge. And then Tom Wopat and John Schneider decided they wanted more money because they were the stars of the show. And the morons in charge of that show are like, no, the car is the star. Go grab a couple of guys who kind of look like these two. And then the next season, they had to bring the original actors back because their ratings dropped so horribly. They thought people were watching it just for the car. That's how bad fucking television executives have been going all the way back to the fucking 80s. You have this show that, yes, the car is cool. The car jumping was awesome. Yeah, I remember Grizzly Adams. I just don't remember anything about it. We watched it. I know that. But yeah, the car was amazing and everybody loved it, but it was the characters who made the show. It's not like Knight Rider where you could actually call the car a character, for fuck's sake. But I love me some Knight Rider. I don't remember much about Knight Rider either, even though I watched every episode. I remember Garth, and I remember Goliath, and I remember Carr. Carr was Kit's evil twin. Fucking Carr had an evil twin. How fucking great is that? How great is that? You just don't get that kind of shit anymore. A car with an evil twin named Carr. The Night Industries 2000. Do you like The Moonrunners, the movie Dukes is based on? I've never seen it. Ever seen it. I know it's based on that, but I've never watched it. And from what I've heard, it's quite different. It's a bit more. It's less wholesome. Less wholesome. I do remember BJ and the Bear. I don't remember much about it except for the truck and the monkey, and that the guy who played BJ went on to become one of my two dads. In the Heat of the Night, my dad loved that show, so we watch it now and then. The movie is far better than the TV series, but the TV series was okay. Yeah, In the Heat of the Night movie was fucking amazing. Ready Player 2 is going to be the shit. I didn't see Ready Player 1. One day the mountain might get him, but the law never. Oh, man. Waylon Jennings singing that. Every so often, ever since I've been on YouTube, every probably 3 or 4 months, I will go listen to that song, the whole version, not just the show version. But there's actually a version of the Dukes of Hazzard theme song that was done because both Tom Wopat and John Schneider became country music stars. Both of them had hits in country music, and they did a version of it together. It's really good. James Colley, thank you. Call Me Mr. Tibbs. What's that from? Wonder Woman, or They Call Me Mr. Tibbs? Is that a movie or something? You ever see the TV show Hunter Monkey? Yes. And it's another one I don't remember very much of. Like I said, I've seen a lot of these. I just don't remember them. I know I didn't watch very much of Hunter. Wasn't his little sidekick cute? The chick she had brown curly hair, right? Yeah. Sanford and Son and Archie were my favorite. I have very few memories of either of those, but one of the coolest things, my brother, for some reason, he bought the Sanford and Son DVDs as they came out, and he became a huge fan of Sanford and Son. And it was great to watch my nephews, his sons, grow up in the 2000s as huge fans of Sanford and Son. How cool is that? Carr was voiced by Peter Cullen, Optimus Prime. Like I said, I watched all these. I couldn't tell you very much about him. I couldn't even remember his voice. I just remember so many times. There's this one great episode where Michael Knight is facing off against what was his twin called? I forget his evil twin. And it was just him with a beard. It was great. But his evil twin drove Goliath, this giant 18-wheeler. And they're riding across the desert at each other. Like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Like, at any point you could turn. But instead, they're getting really close to each other. What's going to happen? And of course, turbo boost. He goes right over. I'm like, oh, who didn't see that shit coming? I didn't see it coming because I was a dumbass little kid watching a show called Knight Rider. Moonlighting. I don't know if I've ever watched an episode of Moonlighting. The only thing I remember about Moonlighting is people losing their shit over Sybil Shepherd and me thinking, that bitch is ugly. Garth. Yes, that's it. Stunlock Garth Knight. That was his name. Fantasy Island had, somebody just brought that up. Fantasy Island had some really great show or episodes that I don't remember, but I know they were great because they scared the shit out of me. That was the beauty of Fantasy Island. You go in there to get your wish, but something horrible always happened. So you realized life was better without your wish. Yeah. Ain't that some shit? Mr. Rourke, is that his name? He was the devil, you guys. He was the devil. He'd give you your wish, but something will always be fucked up with it. Remington Steele, I remember watching that. Who was the chick on there? Because she was cute too. But yeah, Remington Steele was like, she was a writer, right? She was a writer, and he claimed to be the character, and they solved crime together. Really stupid premise, but it made for a great TV show. So Mr. Rourke was the fucking Wishmaster genie? Yeah. Or Gene. I don't know how you say that. He was the devil, if you think about it. Who gives you your wish, but it's always fucked up? It's the devil, man. Lots of cute chicks in those older shows. Yes, because back then, they knew how to make people watch TV. It's like, put a beautiful woman in here. Nobody wants to see an ugly old shithead. Or you can put one of those in there, but make sure there's something cute to look at. Sounds like Castle. Castle is a dumb TV premise, but up until season 5, it's actually a pretty good show. Actually, halfway through season 5, it just turns to shit. The first season, which is a shortened season because it was a mid-season replacement, was great. It was fucking awesome. And then they kind of changed their characters. They should have left them how they were. That in Castle, there's actually a lot of inconsistencies in the first, I guess it's the first maybe 3 seasons, where one of them, Castle will say something to Beckett, and then a season later, he'll tell her that she taught him that. I'm like, what? No. Heard they were rebooting Buffy. Yeah, they are. And even though I don't care that they have a black actress doing it, they didn't need to reboot Buffy to do it. Buffy is not even the only vampire slayer in her universe at the end of the 2nd season. There's already been, by that time, has there already been 3? When do we meet Faith? But anyway, there's a black vampire slayer introduced in the 2nd season because technically Buffy's already died. All they got to do is like, okay, she's the next one. The black girl in Faith. Yeah, I forget her name. But yeah, Spike kills her, doesn't he? I forget who kills her. Yep, she died. Stephanie Zimbalist. She was a private detective nobody would hire because she was the woman who invented, or was woman, so she invented Remington Steele. Gotcha. That's right. She named it after him, and he would, yeah. So he comes in and goes, "No, I'm him," and she's like, "No, you're not." And then somehow that they formed a great partnership from that. Not to mention every potential is now a slayer. What a fucking way to ruin a good story, man. We're gonna make them all slayers. Into every generation. One girl is chosen, shitheads. Buffy suffered from a problem lots of shows like that suffer from. Instead of just giving them a bad guy to fight, every bad guy has to be worse than the last. Everyone has to be worse than the last. And in season 5, they have her fight a god. It's hard to go over that. And then, was a big bad in season 6? I don't even remember. That's how forgettable that shit was. And then in season 7, it's so bad they have to bring every potential Slayer into being a Slayer. So they're all Slayer. It's like, that's fucking stupid. Glory was funny. Glory was excellent. Glory was a great character. She treated everybody like shit. The first evil was the final boss, right? Fuck. Stupid as shit. Anyway, guys, it is 2 hours in. I need to get to sleep because I need to be awake in about 7 hours. So I hope everybody had a good time tonight. If you're just tuning in going, did he talk about anything that wasn't TV and movies? I did. Go back to the beginning. Oh, yes, season 6. Well, it was the Nerd Trio and then Dark Willow. You're right. You're right. And again, just stupid. Dark Willow was great, but the Nerd Trio was fucking annoying as shit. And yeah. Guys, thank you. We should do a dedicated nostalgia stream. We should. I keep talking about doing it, and I get distracted by other things because every time I have it planned, we end up with, some kind of actual news breaks that day. Bearcock, thank you. Just got here. What did I miss? The whole show. But guys, thanks for the late night pick me up, Ranting Monkey in chat. What's your name? I'm happy to do so. And again, James Colley, we're happy to hear you're home, and I hope you mend well. Good night, guys. Thank you for the donations. You're very kind, and I appreciate it. There will not be one of these shows tomorrow night. I can't. Tomorrow night, I got to get my ass some sleep because I got to go. Technically, before I go, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, little peanut. Happy birthday to you. Grandpa loves you. I will see you tomorrow. Guys, I'm going to visit Peanut. Her birthday's today, and Saturday we're going down there to see him. So I won't be here tomorrow night. Next game stream, not looking good for a little while. Maybe Saturday night. But tonight we'll be on Scribe Light's channel for Lords of the Night. Then we'll be doing a game stream that I will do at least half of, depending on how late we go. But yeah, so everybody have a great time until I see you again. And well, if you miss this, if tomorrow you're sitting there going, damn, I wish there was a Monkey in the Morning I could listen to. There's hundreds of them. Go watch. Thanks for watching, guys. Love you. I'll see you next time.